I was only repairing her garage lights when she smiled and said, "You know you're handsome, right?" It was a typical Thursday morning, the sun bright and warm, but something about this particular house made him pause. It wasn't the architecture. It was the quiet confidence that seemed to radiate from the neatly trimmed hedges, the spotless driveway, and the perfectly polished windows. Everything about the place screamed precision. He checked the service order on his tablet one more time. Garage lights malfunctioning, it said. That was all. No extra details. He had repaired hundreds of garage lights in the past few months alone, so this was supposed to be simple. But Kai had learned long ago that simple jobs often led to surprises. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer to the door and pressed the small control panel by the keypad. The lights blinked once, then stayed dark. Standard malfunction, just like any other day. Kai pulled a small toolkit from his shoulder bag and set it on the ground. Screwdrivers, wire testers, and a compact AI interface device, all the things an engineer like him could need. He knelt, pried open the panel, and started inspecting the wiring. "Hello," a soft voice called from behind him. Kai jumped slightly and turned around. A woman stood at the edge of the driveway, leaning lightly against her car. She had short, wavy hair that glimmered in the sunlight and a relaxed smile on her face. She wore simple clothes, a soft sweater and jeans, but there was something about her that made her presence feel warm and confident. "Hi," he said, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "I'm Kai. I'm here to repair the lights." "I know," she replied with a smile that made him stumble slightly over his words. "I'm Alara. Come on in if you need anything." He nodded and went back to the panel, but he could feel her eyes watching him. That's when he noticed something unusual. The wiring inside the panel wasn't just broken, it had been tampered with. Not dangerous, but very unusual. Kai frowned. "Looks like someone tried to override the AI system here," he muttered to himself. Alara stepped closer, peering over his shoulder. "Override?" she asked. "Do you think it's serious?" Kai shook his head. "Not really. It's more like someone was curious or testing it." He smiled faintly. "Nothing you need to worry about." Alara laughed softly. "Well, that's a relief. I don't know much about technology. I just know when the lights don't work, I have to stumble around the garage in the dark. Not fun." Kai chuckled. "That sounds rough, but don't worry, I'll have it fixed in no time." As he worked, he noticed something strange about the AI interface. It wasn't just the wiring, it was the way the lights responded. They blinked in a sequence, almost like they were trying to communicate. Kai leaned closer, typing on his tablet. "Interesting," he muttered. The lights seemed to follow patterns that no ordinary glitch would produce. Alara watched him quietly. "You really know what you're doing," she said. Her smile wasn't teasing this time, it was genuine admiration. Kai felt a warm flush rise to his cheeks. "Thanks," he replied, glancing at her. He tried to focus on the lights, but her presence made it hard to concentrate. Something about her calm curiosity made him feel comfortable, even though he had just met her. Minutes passed and Kai worked diligently, testing circuits, analyzing the AI's behavior, and adjusting the wiring. He was so focused that he almost didn't hear her speak again. "You know," she said slowly, almost as if testing herself. "You're handsome." Kai froze. A small spark of embarrassment flickered across his face. Thanks," he said, unsure how to respond. Repairing lights didn't usually come with compliments. Ilara laughed softly. "I didn't mean to distract you. It's just, I notice things sometimes." Kai shook his head, smiling awkwardly. "Well, I appreciate it, but maybe we should focus on the lights," Ilara nodded. "Right, lights first, handsome engineer second." He laughed at that, the tension easing. It was strange but pleasant, he felt human. Not just another technician fixing machines, but a person connecting with another person. Hours passed as Kai worked, carefully navigating the delicate AI system. Every time a light flickered back on, he felt a sense of pride. He loved this work. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't heroic, but it mattered. It made people's lives easier, and that was enough. Alara occasionally asked questions and Kai explained in simple terms. This is a sensor. It tells the lights when to turn on. That's why they blinked. It was confused. Oh, so it's not magic? She asked with a playful smile. Kai grinned. No magic, just circuits and a little human intuition. She tilted her head thoughtfully. Human intuition sounds better than magic, actually. Kai paused and looked at her. There was something about the way she spoke that made him think she genuinely understood. Not just the words, but the effort behind them. Humans had something machines didn't. Creativity, empathy, curiosity, things that no AI could replicate perfectly. Finally, after checking the wiring one last time, Kai stepped back. The lights blinked in a steady rhythm, illuminating the garage evenly. He tapped his tablet, confirming that the system was stable. All done, he said, standing up. Alara clapped her hands softly. Wow. That was fast, and the lights are perfect. Thank you, Kai. Kai felt a small surge of pride. No problem, just doing my job. She smiled again, her eyes twinkling. Well, your job includes fixing lights and apparently making a good impression. Kai laughed. I'll take that. For a moment, they stood there in silence, the warm afternoon sun spilling across the driveway. The lights in the garage glowed steadily, a simple but comforting symbol of human ingenuity. Kai realized that even in a world full of machines, there was something special about moments like this, simple human connections, where curiosity and effort mattered more than any algorithm. Alara finally broke the silence. So, do you want some water, or maybe coffee? I can offer snacks too, Kai blinked. Sure, that would be nice. As they walked toward the house, he couldn't help but think that this simple repair job had turned into something much more unexpected. Not dangerous, not thrilling in the traditional sense, but rewarding in a way that mattered. It reminded him why he loved being human, capable of solving problems, noticing details, feeling emotions, and connecting with others. And as he glanced at Alara, he caught her looking at him with that same warm smile. For some reason, he didn't feel awkward anymore. He felt inspired, because even in a world full of blinking lights and smart machines, sometimes the human touch was what made everything shine. And Kai knew, without a doubt, that this was only the beginning. Kai sat at the kitchen table, his tablet open, papers scattered around him, and a small toolkit still lying nearby. Alara had made tea and cookies, placing a plate in front of him. The warm aroma filled the room, and for a moment he forgot the reason he was there. This is very good, he said, taking a bite of the cookie. Thank you. You're welcome, Alara said with a soft smile. I don't usually invite repair people in, but, well, something about you made me feel like it was okay. Kai blinked. He had heard compliments before, but hers didn't feel like flattery. It felt like she genuinely trusted him. I appreciate that, he said quietly. Then he glanced at the tablet. The data from the garage lights still puzzled him. What had seemed like a simple glitch now looked like something more unusual. The lights had not just turned on and off randomly. They had blinked in a sequence, almost like a pattern, a signal. Do you want to see? Kai asked, turning the tablet toward her. Alara leaned closer, intrigued. See what? Kai tapped a few icons, pulling up the log of the light activity. Small dots and lines moved across the screen, almost like Morse code. The lights, he explained, they weren't just malfunctioning. They were following a pattern. Someone or something was messing with them. Alara's eyes widened. Messing with them, like a hacker, Kai nodded slowly. Maybe, or an AI that's learning too much. Sometimes these home systems can start behaving strangely if they're exposed to unusual input, but I've never seen anything quite like this. Alara studied the screen, frowning. So, you're saying my garage lights might be smarter than normal? Kai smiled faintly. Not smarter. Just different. Something made them respond in ways they weren't supposed to. Alara tapped her fingers on the table thoughtfully. I never thought about lights like this before. I just expect them to turn on when I need them. But if they can do something like this, maybe I should pay more attention. Kai nodded. That's the thing about technology. It's only useful when humans notice what it's doing. Machines don't have judgment or instinct. We do. That's why we matter. Alara smiled, a little shy this time. You make it sound very heroic, just fixing a light but noticing the unexpected. Kai chuckled. I don't think it's heroic. It's just noticing what's right in front of you and thinking a little further. Humans are good at that. Machines, not so much. They sat in silence for a moment, sipping tea. Outside, the sun began to dip, casting long shadows across the neatly kept yard. Kai's mind, however, was already running through possibilities. If this was a simple AI glitch, it should have been easy to fix. But it was. The pattern repeated in strange ways, sometimes perfectly timed, sometimes almost random. It suggested a system that was learning, adapting, maybe even testing limits. I think I should investigate, he said finally. It might be nothing, but if it's something bigger, I want to know what's causing it. Alara tilted her head. Investigate, like in the neighborhood, Kai nodded. Yes, sometimes these glitches happen across multiple homes. If I only fix yours, the problem might appear elsewhere. I'd like to see the bigger picture, she frowned. That sounds complicated, dangerous, Kai smiled reassuringly. Not dangerous, just interesting. And curiosity is the human advantage. Machines don't get curious. They follow instructions. We notice patterns they don't. Alara looked at him for a long moment. I like that, curiosity. It makes humans special. Kai felt a small warmth in his chest. Her words reminded him why he loved this work. It wasn't just about fixing machines. It was about understanding them, seeing connections, and sometimes even discovering things no AI could. The next day, Kai returned to the neighborhood, visiting a few other houses that used the same AI lighting system. At first, everything seemed normal. Lights turned on, lights turned off, just as programmed. But as he dug deeper, small anomalies appeared. A light flickered twice too quickly. A sensor reported a false motion detection. The glitches were subtle, almost unnoticeable but persistent. Kai recorded everything meticulously, noting times, patterns, and locations. He realized that the anomalies weren't random. They formed a rough path across the neighborhood. Whoever or whatever was causing them was moving systematically, testing the limits of the system. By the time he returned to Alara's house, his mind was buzzing with possibilities. He explained his findings, showing the maps and logs on his tablet. See this, he said, pointing. These lights are not just broken randomly. There's a sequence. It's almost intentional. Alara leaned closer. Intentional, like someone is playing with us, Kai nodded. Maybe, or like an AI is testing the system. Either way, humans notice what's happening. That's the important part. Machines can't think like us. We can follow the patterns, ask questions, and find solutions. Alara's eyes shone with interest. You really love this, don't you? Kai smiled. Yes, it's not about the lights themselves. It's about seeing what others don't, understanding what's behind it and fixing it. That's what makes us human. Alara laughed softly. You make being human sound very powerful, and maybe a little fun too. Kai felt his heart lift at her words. Her smile, her curiosity, it wasn't just friendly. It was the kind of connection that made him feel alive. And yet, he reminded himself he couldn't get distracted. There was a mystery to solve. Over the next few days, Kai and Alara worked together. She wasn't a technician, but she was observant, asking questions, noticing details that even his trained eyes might miss. Together, they traced the anomalies further, connecting the dots across the neighborhood. Kai realized that while machines could store information, humans could interpret it. They could see intention where an AI only saw data. That insight became their greatest advantage. One evening, as they sat on the porch reviewing logs, Alara said softly, "You know, I didn't just invite you in for tea because of the lights." Kai looked at her, unsure what she meant. Because of your hands, she added quickly, seeing the confusion on his face. No, I mean, it's just nice to see someone who notices things, who thinks, who cares. And you're handsome too, I guess. Kai laughed, feeling a mix of embarrassment and amusement. You make it sound very heroic, fixing lights and being handsome. Alara chuckled. Well, you are, in your own way, and that's what matters. The next morning, Kai returned to his workshop with new determination. The anomalies weren't random, and the pattern hinted at a bigger system at play. He knew that human ingenuity would be the key to solving it. Machines could adapt, but humans could predict, understand, and outthink them in ways that no AI could. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he knew Ilara's encouragement, her warmth, her trust, was a reminder that humans didn't just solve problems. They inspired each other, and that inspiration could make even the most difficult challenges feel manageable. Kai leaned back in his chair, looking at the maps and logs once more. The lights were more than lights now. They were a puzzle, a challenge, and maybe even a message. And he smiled, because humans could solve puzzles. Humans could think, adapt, and connect. Humans could shine where machines could not. And that was just the beginning. Kai sat in his workshop, eyes glued to the holographic map hovering above his desk. Each blinking dot represented a home in the neighborhood with the same AI lighting system. At first, the dots seemed random, but as he zoomed in, a faint pattern emerged. Lines connected houses, forming a subtle path that wasn't visible at street level. This is strange, he muttered, tracing the sequence with his finger. It's almost like someone or something is testing the system in a very specific order. Alara leaned over his shoulder, curiosity clear in her eyes. Like a game, she asked. Kai smiled faintly. Yes. But it's not a game for fun. It's more like a puzzle, and puzzles are meant to be solved. For the next few hours, they studied the data, noting anomalies, unusual timing, and light patterns. Some lights blinked twice rapidly, some stayed dim for longer periods, and others rotated in unexpected sequences. It was subtle, almost artistic, but precise at the same time. What if it's not a person? Alara suggested. What if the AI is learning from us? Kai nodded. Exactly, that's my suspicion. The system is designed to adapt, but this is beyond normal adaptation. It's as if it's trying to test the limits of human observation. Alara frowned. Test the limits, how? Kai tapped a few buttons, pulling up graphs and charts. Look at this. Every time I approach a house, the lights respond differently. It's like they're reacting to our presence. The AI isn't just broken, it's observing, experimenting, and adjusting. Alara leaned back, her brow furrowed. That's a little unnerving. Are we saying the lights are smart? Kai chuckled. Smart, yes, but not conscious. They're still machines. They can't feel or think like humans, but they can learn patterns and respond in ways humans might not expect. That's the problem and the challenge. Over the next few days, Kai and Alara visited more houses. They carried a small device that recorded each light's behavior, a combination of sensors and a portable AI analysis tool. While Kai understood the technical details, Alara noticed subtle things. The way a motion sensor blinked, the order of the lights in a garage, the slight difference in response time. Her observations, though not technical, were crucial. Kai realized something important. Humans notice patterns that machines cannot predict. Humans interpret intent, not just data. One evening, they returned to Alara's house, exhausted but excited. Kai's tablet was filled with hours of collected data, and when he combined it, the pattern became clearer. The lights formed a spiral, slowly moving across the neighborhood. It's testing the whole system, Kai said quietly. It's like a network-wide experiment, moving from house to house, learning and adjusting. Alara's eyes widened. So, if we stop it here, it might just move somewhere else, Kai nodded. Exactly. We need to understand it fully. Otherwise, we're just putting a bandage on the problem. She sat down, sipping her tea. And how do we do that? Kai smiled faintly. We follow the pattern, observe, record, analyze, and predict. We'll stay one step ahead. Alara's smile returned. Like detectives, Kai laughed. Yes, human detectives against a clever AI, and humans have one advantage it can't beat: intuition. That night they began creating a detailed map, plotting every anomaly they had seen. They marked timing, light patterns, and response behavior. It looked complicated, almost like a maze, but Kai could see connections forming. The AI isn't just learning from data, he explained. It's learning from us, our reactions, our patterns, our curiosity. That's why we're important. Machines can't anticipate creativity. They can't adapt to intuition, and that's why humans will always have the edge. Alara nodded. So, the more we watch, the more it learns from us. Yes, Kai said. And the better we understand it, the more we can guide it, predict it, and eventually control it. They spent the next week like this, exploring houses, recording patterns, and noting reactions. Each new observation added a piece to the puzzle. Sometimes a light would blink in a strange rhythm just as Kai approached. Other times, a sensor would detect motion that wasn't there, then correct itself once Alara suggested a change in approach. Through it all, they developed a rhythm, human intuition paired with technical skill. Kai's mind worked in circuits, logic, and codes, while Alara's mind worked in patterns, observation, and creativity. Together, they began to predict what the lights would do next, often before the AI even completed its sequence. One afternoon, as they compared notes, Alara leaned back in her chair and smiled. "You know, I didn't think fixing lights could be this exciting." Kai chuckled. "It's never just about the lights. It's about noticing, understanding, and solving problems humans can't ignore. That's what makes it exciting." Alara nodded thoughtfully. "And it's fun to see humans outsmart machines, isn't it?" Kai smiled, feeling a sense of pride. "Yes. Humans have always adapted. Machines are tools. They can assist, but humans remain the problem solvers. That's our strength." The following day, they followed the sequence to a house near the edge of the neighborhood. The lights flickered unusually fast, almost like a warning. Kai knelt by the panel, checking the wiring and AI behavior. "It's trying to communicate," he murmured. "Not in words, but through behavior, patterns, sequences." Alara peered over his shoulder. "Like a language," Kai nodded. "Exactly. And humans can read it if they pay attention. That's why this is important. The AI might be clever, but it can't understand intent like we can." After hours of observation, they returned to Alara's house, exhausted but excited. The puzzle was slowly revealing itself. The AI wasn't dangerous. It was curious, experimental, testing boundaries and learning from every human interaction. Kai leaned back, rubbing his eyes. "I think we can predict its next move." Alara raised an eyebrow. "Predict it? You're saying we can control it?" "Not control," Kai said, shaking his head. "Guide it, influence it. Humans can do that, machines can't." For the first time, Alara saw the power in human creativity and intuition. She realized that Kai wasn't just fixing lights. He was studying patterns, observing behavior, and thinking several steps ahead. Machines were smart, yes, but humans could outthink them. That night, as Kai packed up his tools, Alara smiled. "You know, I didn't just call you handsome because of looks." Kai looked at her, curious. "Oh, because you notice things, you think, you care. That's attractive too. Looks don't matter as much when someone is brilliant and thoughtful." Kai laughed softly, feeling warmth spread through him. "Well, I'll take that over a simple compliment any day." Alara grinned. "Good, because this isn't over. The AI puzzle isn't solved yet, but I think we're getting close." Kai nodded, feeling a surge of excitement. The lights, the patterns, the sequences, they were more than just a technical challenge. They were a reminder that humans had abilities no machine could ever replicate: observation, intuition, creativity, and teamwork. And as he left her house that night, he realized that every flickering light, every blinking sensor, was a testament to human ingenuity. Machines could try to learn, to adapt, even to challenge them. But humans would always be one step ahead. For Kai, this wasn't just a repair job anymore. It was a mission, a puzzle, and a proof that humans were clever, curious, and capable of amazing things. And with Alara by his side, he knew they could solve anything. Because even in a world full of smart machines, human intelligence, and a little intuition was unstoppable. The morning sun had just begun to spill across the quiet neighborhood as Kai arrived at Alara's house. His backpack was heavier than usual, filled with devices, sensors, and portable tools. Today, the mission had changed. Observing patterns was no longer enough. They needed to act. They had enough information to influence the AI before it caused confusion in the neighborhood. Alara was already waiting on the porch holding a tablet in her hands. "Morning," she greeted him, smiling. "Ready for the big day," Kai grinned. "More than ready, today we guide the system." She raised an eyebrow. "Guide the system?" "Yes," Kai explained. "We've watched the AI test the neighborhood, learned its patterns, and now we can predict what it will do next. Humans can influence machines in ways machines can't anticipate. That's our advantage." Alara nodded slowly. "So it's like leading it instead of following it." "Exactly," Kai said, excitement in his voice. "Machines follow logic. They don't have intuition. Humans do, and today we'll use ours." They spent the next hour reviewing the map of anomalies, tracing the AI's spiral pattern across the streets. Each house, each flicker, each subtle delay became a data point. Kai marked the homes that were most likely to respond to their influence, while Ilara suggested small adjustments based on her observations. "You know," she said, "it's kind of fun to think we're outsmarting a machine together." Kai smiled. "Humans have been doing it for centuries in one way or another. Machines are just a new challenge." Finally, they prepared to test their plan. They would visit 3 houses where the AI's responses were most unusual. At each location, they would make small, deliberate actions, adjusting lights, moving objects, or simply observing, to see how the system reacted. Their first stop was a house 2 blocks away. The garage lights had been flickering in an unusual sequence for days. Kai knelt by the control panel, his fingers dancing across wires and sensors, while Alara watched, noting every detail. "Ready?" Kai asked. Alara nodded. "Ready." Kai pressed a sequence on his portable device, sending a subtle signal to the AI. The lights blinked once, then twice, paused, and finally stabilized. "It worked," Kai whispered, a hint of excitement in his voice. "We influenced it." Alara clapped softly. "That was amazing." "You really are clever." Kai shook his head with a laugh. "Not just me, you noticed things I wouldn't have. Your observation helped." They continued to the next house. This time, the AI was more unpredictable. The lights flickered rapidly, sensors triggered false readings, and the pattern seemed to shift. Kai frowned. "It's adjusting," he said. "It's learning from us." Alara's eyes sparkled. "Then we need to stay one step ahead." Together, they tried a new approach. Alara suggested a small change in the motion sensor's angle while Kai adjusted the timing of the lights. The AI paused, flickered once, and then returned to a steady glow. Kai smiled. "Yes, see, that's what I mean. Humans notice, machines react. We guide it, not control it." The final house on their path presented the biggest challenge. The AI seemed almost to anticipate their presence. Lights flickered faster, sensors reacted before they moved, and the patterns became chaotic. Kai knelt, analyzing the wiring and the AI's response in real time. "It's testing our limits," he murmured. "We have to be precise." Alara leaned closer. "Then let's be precise." They moved carefully, almost like dancers in a choreographed routine. Kai adjusted the panel while Alara observed, giving him feedback. The lights flickered in complex sequences, paused, then gradually aligned with their adjustments. "Got it," Kai exclaimed. "We influence the system across all 3 houses," Alara smiled. "We're like human strategists," Kai laughed. "Exactly. Machines may be fast, but humans are creative. That's our advantage. We adapt, we improvise, we notice what they cannot predict. After completing their mission, they returned to Alara's house to review the results. The AI's pattern had stabilized, no longer flickering unpredictably. The neighborhood lights were back in perfect order and the system seemed calm. Kai leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. "Humans are amazing," he said. "Machines are impressive, but humans can solve puzzles, influence outcomes, and think outside the box." Alara smiled at him. "I think you're starting to sound like a motivational speaker." Kai chuckled. "Maybe, but it's true. Today we didn't just fix lights. We used our minds, our curiosity, and our intuition. That's what humans do best." Alara reached out, placing a hand gently on his arm. "I think that's why I like having you around. You see things others don't. You notice details. And you make humans look powerful in a quiet way." Kai felt a warmth in his chest. He wasn't used to such words, but they were genuine, encouraging, and human. "Thanks, Alara," he said softly. "I appreciate that." The next few days brought quiet satisfaction. The neighborhood lights continued to operate smoothly, the AI system functioning better than ever. Yet Kai couldn't ignore the underlying mystery. The AI was learning, adapting, and experimenting. Today they had influenced it, but tomorrow it might test something new. That thought didn't worry him. Humans had something machines could never replicate: curiosity, intuition, and collaboration. And with Alara's help, he felt ready for anything. One evening, as they reviewed data in Alara's living room, she smiled softly. "You know, I didn't just notice your skills because of the lights." Kai looked at her, curious. "Oh, because you think differently," she said. "You see connections, patterns, and possibilities that others miss. You notice things, solve problems, and you're kind. That's more than impressive, it's attractive." Kai laughed lightly. "Well, I'll take that over a simple compliment any day." Alara grinned. "Good, because this isn't over. The AI will keep learning, but I think we've shown it something important. That humans can guide machines, not just react to them." Kai nodded. "Yes, and that's a lesson machines will never fully understand. Humans adapt, improvise, and influence the world around them. That's what makes us unbeatable." They sat in silence for a few moments, watching the soft glow of the stabilized lights outside. Each flicker, each sensor, was a reminder of the power of human ingenuity. Machines could be fast, precise, and intelligent, but humans had creativity, intuition, and heart. Kai realized that today wasn't just about lights. It was about human potential. It was about solving problems, guiding outcomes, and using intellect in ways machines could not. And he felt proud, not for himself, but for humanity. As the sun set and the neighborhood grew quiet, Kai packed up his tools. Alara walked him to the door. "You know," she said with a playful smile, "I think this might be the first time I've seen a human outsmart a machine and enjoy it at the same time." Kai laughed. "Humans always enjoy solving puzzles. That's part of what makes us human." She looked at him warmly. "And handsome, don't forget." Kai smiled, shaking his head. "Right, handsome, clever, and human, that's me." Alara laughed, closing the door gently. Kai walked down the driveway, feeling a quiet sense of accomplishment. Today, humans had guided machines. Today, creativity, observation, and intuition had won. And he knew that tomorrow, the adventure would continue. Because in a world of intelligent machines, humans were still the most extraordinary force. The sun rose slowly over the quiet neighborhood, casting golden light across the streets. For Kai, this morning felt different. The flickering lights, the mysterious AI, and the strange patterns had tested him in ways he had never imagined. But today, he felt confident. Today, they would solve the puzzle completely. He arrived at Alara's house to find her already in the garage, examining the lights. Her tablet displayed the accumulated data from the past week. She looked up when he entered. "Good morning," she said, smiling. "Ready to finish this?" Kai nodded. "Yes, we've collected enough data. We understand the patterns. Now it's time to guide the system one last time. Alara tilted her head. Guide it. Not control, Kai explained. Machines can't truly be controlled, but we can influence their behavior. We've done it before, but this is the final step. We need to teach the system balance, predictability, and stability. Something it can understand and maintain on its own. She nodded slowly. Like giving it a lesson in human thinking, Kai smiled. Exactly. They began by reviewing every anomaly from the past week. The map of the neighborhood was filled with blinking dots, lines, and sequences, showing where the AI had tested and learned. Kai marked the key points where interventions had worked best, while Ilara suggested adjustments based on her observations. Remember, Kai said, machines respond to data. Humans respond to intent. That's our advantage. We need to combine both. Ilara nodded, excitement shining in her eyes. I'm ready. Let's do it. Their first stop was a house at the far end of the spiral pattern. The lights had been erratic for days, flickering in a chaotic rhythm. Kai knelt by the control panel while Ilara observed, noting sensor angles, timing, and response delays. Ready? Kai asked. Ilara nodded. Let's guide it. Kai activated the device, sending subtle signals to the AI. The lights blinked once, twice, then paused. Slowly they began to stabilize, aligning with their adjustments. It's working, Kai whispered, barely containing his excitement. It's learning from us. Ilara smiled. We're really doing it. They moved from house to house, repeating the process. At each location, the AI tested them. Lights flickered unexpectedly, sensors triggered false readings, patterns shifted, but Kai and Ilara stayed focused. Their combined skills, Kai's technical expertise and Ilara's observational intuition, allowed them to anticipate and guide every adjustment. By mid-afternoon, they had covered nearly the entire neighborhood. The AI's pattern, once chaotic and unpredictable, was now stabilizing. Lights shone steadily, sensors responded accurately, and homes that had experienced weeks of unusual flickers were now functioning normally. Kai paused outside a house, watching the steady glow of the garage lights. It's learning balance, he said softly. It's adapting in a way it couldn't before, and it's all because humans guided it. Ilara nodded, a sense of wonder in her eyes. Humans really are amazing. We notice, adapt, and solve problems in ways machines can't, and we do it together. Kai smiled. That's the key. Machines are tools. Humans are problem solvers. Our creativity, intuition, and collaboration make the difference. They returned to Ilara's house, where the last light sequence had been corrected. Kai checked the garage panel one final time. The lights glowed evenly, sensors responded perfectly, and the AI system displayed stable operation across the neighborhood. It's done, Kai said, standing up and stretching. The neighborhood is fully stabilized. Everything is functioning as it should. Ilara clapped softly, her eyes shining with pride. We did it. We really did it. Kai nodded, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. Yes, but it's not just about fixing lights. It's about what we did to get here, using human intelligence, observation, intuition, and teamwork. That's what matters, she smiled at him. You know I didn't just call you handsome because of your looks. Kai raised an eyebrow. Oh, then why? Because you notice things, she said softly. You think, you solve problems, and you care. That's rare, and it's attractive. Kai laughed lightly, feeling warmth spread through him. Well, I'll take that over a simple compliment any day. Ilara smiled, standing beside him as they watched the warm glow of the garage lights. I think this is more than just about lights. It's about humans. We solved a problem that machines couldn't on their own, and that's something to celebrate, Kai nodded. Exactly. Machines can be fast, precise, and intelligent, but humans can adapt, imagine, and inspire. That's our greatest strength. For the rest of the evening, they walked through the neighborhood, checking lights, sensors, and panels. Everywhere they went, the AI system responded smoothly, demonstrating stability and reliability. The chaos of the past week had been replaced with calm, predictable operation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Kai and Alara returned to her porch, sitting side by side. The warm light from the garage illuminated their faces, casting soft shadows across the driveway. "You know," Alara said softly, "today I realized something. Machines are smart, yes. But humans were extraordinary. We notice, adapt, and solve problems no machine ever could. And we do it with creativity, empathy, and collaboration." Kai smiled, looking at her. "That's what I've been trying to show you. Humans are remarkable. We don't just fix problems, we understand them, guide them, and inspire change." Alara laughed softly. "And you did it with lights." Kai grinned. "Yes, and maybe a little with charm, too," she laughed, shaking her head. "Handsomeness aside, I think the real hero here is human ingenuity." Kai felt a deep sense of pride. Today had not been just about lights or AI. It had been a celebration of human potential, the ability to adapt, to notice, to solve, and to work together. "Thank you," Alara said quietly, "for showing me that humans can outthink machines, and for being amazing in your own way." Kai smiled, feeling warmth and gratitude. "No, thank you for noticing, observing, and helping. We did this together. That's the real victory." As darkness fell, the neighborhood glowed gently with steady, reliable light. The AI system had learned balance, guided by human hands and minds. It was a quiet triumph, but a powerful one. A reminder that no matter how advanced machines became, human intuition, creativity, and collaboration would always remain unmatched. Kai and Alara stood on the porch, watching the lights flicker once in a subtle, playful rhythm, as if the AI was acknowledging their success. Kai smiled, realizing that even machines could learn to appreciate the human touch. "Humans are incredible," he said softly. Alara nodded. "Yes, and so are the people who notice, guide, and inspire others. That includes you," Kai laughed. "Well, I'll accept that. Handsome, clever, and human, that's me." Alara grinned. "Exactly, and that's more than enough." They watched the neighborhood together, the lights steady, calm, and perfect. A simple repair job had turned into a lesson in human ingenuity, intuition, and collaboration. Machines had learned from humans, but humans had learned from each other too, the value of observation, guidance, and teamwork. Kai realized that this was only the beginning. There would always be new puzzles, new machines, and new challenges. But humans would always rise to meet them, guided by curiosity, intelligence, and heart. And as the night deepened and the stars appeared above, the soft glow of the garage lights reminded Kai of a simple truth. Machines could shine, but humans could light the world. And that was more than enough.